Hello, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to give a presentation on the RTB Foods Work Package 1 methodology for gendered product profiles. Just want to say that I'm presenting on the work of a number of my wonderful colleagues. We have a Work Package 1 food product profile working group who have worked closely with me on building this methodology, along with continual feedback from the gender working group on the methodology from a gender perspective. The main objective of Work Package 1 is to identify quality characteristics of RTB crops and final products for different user groups, how they may be prioritized, and the factors that influence these preferences for men, women, and other social segments. This was to be accomplished through a common, participatory, and interdisciplinary methodology, including food science, gender, and economics. The methods were grounded on a three-step approach developed by CIRAD, led by our own work package co-lead Geneviève Fledel in a previous CRP RTB project in 2015. RTB Foods, we've adapted this methodology to include a socioeconomic, gender, and breeding focus and include a strong sampling framework in order to access the priorities of people who grow, process, sell, and consume the crop. Indeed, this has been a very tall order. Work Package 1 used a 5-step methodology. The first step is state of knowledge, an exercise to establish what was currently known and unknown about the crop and product from a multidisciplinary perspective. This step was completed in period 2 and the results are available on the RTB Foods platform. Step 2 was gender food mapping, a mixed method consultation process in rural communities with people who grow, process, sell, and consume the crop. This was, of course, to identify quality characteristics related to the crop and product, but also included really important information on varietal preferences, types of decision making, and the role of the crop in other, perhaps competing products. Step 3 was participatory processing diagnostics, which was processing demonstrations with expert processors, usually women, to undertake measurements and diagnostics of specific processing parameters and to evaluate varieties on their processability. Step 4 was consumer testing in rural and urban settings to identify overall liking and sensory mapping of final products. Step 5 is the food product profile, which brings together the quality characteristics from the 3 steps into a table based on expert analysis of the data by the partner teams, considering gender and broader livelihood factors. This is output 1.2.1. So very kindly, Gerard and Tessie have agreed to lead a session on lesson learning around this methodology as part of our period 3 annual meeting. And this will facilitate a reflection on this methodology and really draw out what worked and what needs to be improved for the future. So the core elements of the Work Package 1 product profile is extracting all sensory processing agronomic characteristics of both high and poor quality from each of the aforementioned steps. Also indicators and descriptors of those characteristics. So if we say something like the product tastes sour, we want to know a bit more about what sourness means in that specific context. Other core data is the good and inferior varieties in different local contexts, quantitative diagnostics such as yield after processing, along with core gender and livelihoods information. So this is an example of what the template for the Work Package 1 product profile looks like. As you can see, it's split into different categories. And what you need to do is list the characteristic under the high quality characteristic column. And you can see it's divided into raw material characteristics, which include agronomic and post-harvest characteristics, and then characteristics related to processing of the raw material that are important for product quality during processing. The third category is characteristics of the raw final product. This may not be applicable to all products. And then finally, the characteristics of the cooked, ready-to-eat final product. Other important columns in the product profile is the indicator of the characteristic, the drivers, so what drives people to demand this type of characteristic, the customer groups who it's important for, such as traders, transporters, producers or processors, the preference group. We may have had a high number of women or men in a particular node of the value chain that particularly values it. The priority of the characteristic, is it a must-have, niche opportunity, added value, or a winning trait? The gender impact scores that I'll be describing later, and again, good quality varieties. The final column is really important to mention, and that's evidence. So what we would really like our partners to do here is make reference to the precise evidence that they're using to justify the inclusion of that characteristics. So for example, we have step 1, the SOC, State of Knowledge Review. Perhaps you want to say that that characteristic in this information came from SOC, or step 2, gender food mapping. We also have a number of supplementary information that we need to extract from each of the steps that should inform what goes into this product profile. And a lot of this is gender and livelihoods checks. It includes what impact on labor time, or what impact on quality and quantity of the product that characteristic has. And we'll describe that in a bit more detail. The food product profile is created in 3 stages. The first phase is to prepare a summary report. And as we referred to, there's 4 different data collection methods, and each of those has quite a long report. So what we're asking teams to do is to make a summary of those reports and really extract the key information, as I've just listed, from those reports into one summary report. And this is so a variety of different natural and social scientists that are involved in creating the product profile can have the important data and evidence at their fingertips. Second phase is to convene a multidisciplinary design team meeting that would agree on the first draft of the product profile. And again, these are the people that will be flipping through the evidence to decide, okay, what's justified to be a high priority or a winning trait on this product profile. And it's really, really important that you have a wide range of people included at the meeting, possibly agronomists, breeders, food scientists, social scientists. Those change in gender analysis are quite important to have around the table. The third phase is applying an adapted G+ tool. And what this is it's a really kind of groundbreaking tool that was developed by the Gender and Breeding Initiative, part of the RTB CGIAR program. And what we've done is we've adapted this tool for the RTB Foods context. And what it does is it helps assess each of the characteristics or heritable traits for their possible gender impact, and whether that be positive or negative. And in the RTB Foods context, it helps us prioritize characteristics that have really a lot of positive benefits and put them to the forefront of the product profile. This is an overview table of the key information that we want to extract from our reports to prepare the summary report. So you can see that quality characteristics, both high quality and poor quality, are really important from accessing from the step 1, step 2, and step 3 reports. Gender and livelihood data is important for mainly step 2, step 3, and step 4 reports. I just want to briefly show an example from Gary Eba in Nigeria from IITA. It shows the extracted high-quality characteristics in column B, along with the low-quality characteristics in column E, and the associated good and inferior varieties. So this is just the type of data that it's extracted from one step. Following the extraction of each of the key quality characteristics and accompanying data from each of the steps, the characteristics should be compiled and triangulated. And leading on from example of the Benin team and Professor Askosi is that we really want to draw out characteristics that are cited multiple times in the different steps as being much more important to feature in the product profile. We also take indicators and priority levels associated with these characteristics from the CATA table scores and also participatory rankings under step 2 to help us inform how we prioritize these characteristics in the product profile. And this is an example of the triangulation process done by Professor Aklosi and his team for boiled yam. As you can see with the different colors, easy to peel in green shows up in each 3 of the steps. In this slide, we see a full example for boiled yam and the characteristics that have been cited as being important based on steps 1, 2, and 3. And they've been organized again by the raw, processing, and final product stages. You can see that the CATA frequencies have been included there in the 3rd column, and the priority from participatory ranking and interpretation of the data used in column 2. So once our teams have completed a draft product profile, that means that they've completed the compilation of different characteristics. They've had the design team meeting where their multidisciplinary colleagues have agreed on what should be included in the table. We're then able to apply the adapted G+ process. Now, the slide that you see here is from the original G+ tool, because right now we're still in the midst of piloting the adapted version for RTB Foods. But essentially, it takes each characteristic and it puts it through a scoring system. Does this characteristic increase judgery? Does it reduce judgery? Does it displace or produce more income generation opportunities for women? Does it decrease any control of benefits? Do women and men value the trait positively? And with this assessment, we can then allocate a positive benefit score and a do no harm score. And if we find that there's more negative than positive, we may want to reassess if it's included in the profile. Now, we didn't have much time to present the Work Package 1 methodology, and it is quite complex. So please do not hesitate to reach out to any of our team members to discuss the RTB Foods Work Package 1 product profile methodology in more detail. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.